Three words, so applicable right now: chaos, corruption, crazy. Yeah, this is what America is, with an especially corrupt ruling class. We all know it. We can all see it. Joe Biden, oh, by the way, it's getting juicier and bigger and broader. So we know at this point, it has been established, and actually Hunter Biden's attorneys have admitted it, that they got millions of dollars from China. That's already a known fact, all right? $3 million transferred to the Biden family. $1 million of it was split up between three Bidens. I'll get to that in a second. But we have this from the chairman of the Oversight Committee tonight. The Biden family enterprise is centered on Joe Biden's political career and connections. Next, please. It has generated an exorbitant amount of money for the Biden family. Following by, we've identified six additional members of Joe Biden's family who may have benefited. That bringing the total number of those involved or benefiting to nine people. Now, these are the ones we know about for sure right now. Haley Biden, for some reason, Hunter Biden, and James Biden, Joe's brother. But there are half dozen other people out there who got money off of this stuff, at least. Now, even though Hunter Biden's attorneys have confirmed the $1 million, Joe is still in denial.
Any reaction to House GOP's new memo about your family dealings, sir? Yes, you're revealing that Hunter Biden's business associate sent over $1 million to three of your family members. Any reactions to that report?
It's not true. And then he backs up and retreats. In denial. I think he knows better. He's just addicted to lying. You better check with Hunter Biden's lawyers. He's confirmed it again. All right, we got corruption we haven't seen. I don't think so. And we've got chaos all over the place. I mean, you saw what happened this weekend, right? Let's start in Chicago, please. A rampage, like thousands of teenagers, because it was warm out. That's what they said. It was unseasonably warm, and they went out and destroyed the place, destroyed the city, a big portion of it, shut it down. A Los Angeles shopping spree. Yeah, you all want to go shopping? Let's hit this 7-Eleven and ruin it and take everything inside. This stuff is happening. This is daily life in America now. Oh, and a mass shooting. Now, we don't have all the facts yet, all right? We're still trying to figure out what happened here, but a tragedy to be sure. Some indication that there may have been a pre-existing grievance. We're not sure yet. We're following the case very, very closely. Oh, and then, of course, there's this.
Thanks for shopping.
You know, shoplifting with the music doesn't seem as disturbing, but we know it is. It's really, really bad. And can we go back to Chicago for a moment? I mean, what were they thinking? Well, they have their new mayor inbound. He's a mayor-elect at this point, and he's as woke and as crazy as Lori Lightfoot. Here's his interpretation on what happened this weekend.
The question is, how do we make sure that people can eat? Look, no one is going to condone, behavior that quite frankly speaks to a level of desperation.
So you're not condoning looting?
I'm saying that people are acting out of desperation. We don't want a society that is acting out of desperation, but you have to pay attention to the cries that people have.
All right, so it sounds like he's condoning looting, actually, when you get right down to it. Can I see these kids out there again, these teenagers? And let's face it, folks, teenagers live at home with their parents, all right? What's the desperation? The parents basically, I don't care what neighborhood you live in, take care of the expenses, okay? And how about getting a job? In this economy, right? People are hiring. How about McDonald's? Something like 1 in 10 Americans had their first job at McDonald's. And some great people who went on to do, well, actually mediocre people. I'm not big fans of all these guys, but Paul Ryan started at a McDonald's. I don't recognize the guy on the lower left. Sorry about that. I think that's Keenan Ivory Wayans on the bottom right. Anyway, all kinds of people start at McDonald's, and it's a great thing for this guy to be saying that somehow Chicago Freak Night was justified. That's crazy. Then again, we've got a crazy country. And that also defines America right now, totally and completely out of its head. And not everybody, of course, but the institutions, the leaders, well, take a look at this. In Washington State, they just passed a bill, which will most likely be signed by the governor, that parental consent not required for gender-affirming treatment. Transgender kids can just change their gender without their parents being involved. That's kind of crazy, don't you think? Of course it is. And other weird stuff that's happening. I mean, look, you don't have to look far, but the Attorney General of the state of New York, who's investigating Donald Trump, suing him, showed up at a drag show, listening to this monster speak to children. That's not normal. No, it's not. And finally on our crazy list, just for now, all right, because we can go on and on like this, Alvin Bragg's crazy witch hunt against Trump. A local district attorney, Soros-backed, who got 82,000 votes on the last day of school. Nobody knew what they were doing. Now, in the old days, well, our institutions would protect against some of this nonsense, right? Our government, our elite media, even the New York Times, our entertainers. Saturday Night Live, at one point, these guys ripped on everything. Let's go through it. They were so politically incorrect, and they had fun doing it. Who do we have? We got Pat. Ooh, remember Pat? She was, I don't know what her status was, but she was funny. Next up, the ladies' man. I actually like that character a lot. Totally incorrect, politically so. Oh, cheeseburger chips, and John Belushi and the rest. And I think we got one more. Oh, Mary Catherine Gallagher and her antics. Now, what is Saturday Night Live these days? They literally had a wake when Hillary Clinton lost the election. Do you remember that? They had the person who played her go out and play a serious song that, she lost, and it was the worst thing in the world that happened. It used to be a destination. We could all go there and kind of laugh at, at stuff that was funny. Now it's all political. They had their first non-binary cast member, whatever that is. And Weekend Update, they used to make fun of President Ford. Now they lecture us about stuff. They lecture us about our kids.
As of this week, there are now over 14 states that have passed bills restricting health care for trans kids.
Listen to that, Michael.
Yeah.
Restricting healthcare for kids. For some reason, there's something about the word trans that makes people forget the word kids. If you don't care about trans kids' lives, it means you don't care about frickin' kids' lives.
Wow, that's quite a statement. No, we care about kids. We don't want this to happen. We don't want people unsupervised around our children, especially those who might be importing toxic views about sexuality, like maybe you should change your gender. That is incredibly rare, and they're mainstreaming it to a dangerous, dangerous degree. We want to protect kids, all kids. But right now on my mind, children of color. Because, well, they are victimized disproportionately. Absolutely. Gun violence is plaguing black children, I think, more than any other group, but nobody seems to give a damn unless a white person is involved.
Outrage in Kansas City this morning after a black teenager was shot in the head when he mistakenly went to the wrong address to pick up his younger brothers. This is 16-year-old Ralph Yarl. He is currently hospitalized in stable condition.
Now, that's absolutely awful, really bad. But unfortunately, it happened all over the country. But they picked this one to start the news with. You know what they're doing? They're stirring the pot. They're stirring the racial pot. They want to get something going here, a little bit of friction, have a little fun, have some ratings, make some money.
Now we are joined by attorney Ben Crump, who is representing the family of Ralph Yarl. Counselor, thank you so much for being with us.
This ambulance chaser has done so much damage to this country. Got my attention when he faked the Trayvon Martin case, but what does he have to say about today?
I mean, to have black people ring a doorbell and then have a white citizen shoot him in the head first and then shoot him a second time. I mean, there is no way you can justify this.
All right. It doesn't sound like you can. I just don't understand why this country must, with CNN's stamp of approval, racialize everything. A lot of 12-year-old kids have gotten killed lately, and it's so tragic, but it's ignored. It is ignored unless there's a white assailant involved. Why is that? In large part, it's so that guy right there, Ben Crump, can make money. Absolutely. Because if we were honest about this, let's look at the numbers, okay? Yeah, black on white crime is 42.3 times more likely than white on black crime, all right? It's true. And this is true as well. I got to go to the border now because the border wide open. Democrats seem to like that. They see votes. What if I told them that this could be polio coming into our country? Take a look at this from a top medical officer in New York City. 50% of migrants not vaccinated against polio. 50% polio, according to a top New York City medical officer. We've had that vaccine for what, 70 years? They've been exposed to tuberculosis, TB. Now, migrants are eligible for public health insurance, especially here in New York City, and qualified for emergency Medicaid, hospital admission, and treatment. But again, 50% of migrants not vaccinated against polio. That is crazy, chaotic, and really, really dangerous. Here's something else. Donald Trump last week said something that was overlooked, but it's important.
And think of that, the way they left Afghanistan and nobody was fired. I fired a lot of people.
Yeah, he fired a lot of people. These people should have been fired. He fired a lot of people, but these people should have been fired. Let's see, Tony Blinken, the Secretary of Defense, all these guys still have jobs. Donald Trump would have gotten rid of one or all, right? Isn't that appropriate? We're coming up on the 2-year anniversary in not too much time.